Hey everyone, this is Louis7 and I finally have a video comparing the different editions of the new War of Three Peaks mini expansion pack in the Lord of the Rings Online. And this is a bit odd because the War of Three Peaks was already released a couple days ago, but we did not actually get this exact information of what the different bundles contained until it was already released. So I'm finally getting to it, but on the bright side, that does mean I can actually show you all everything that comes in the different editions to compare them. So very, very importantly, the point of this video is to inform you all of what is in the different editions. I know there's a ton of controversy going around with this update and the pricing with it and all that, but I personally don't like to tell people how they should spend their money. So again, this is to inform and show you all the differences between the different editions so you can better choose which to get or not get any at all maybe. But finally, I should mention that Standing Stone Games was generous enough to give me the Ultimate Fan Bundle for purposes of making content and videos like this one. And also importantly, with this, there were no strings attached. So even though I think that is a wonderful thing for them to give me the Ultimate Edition, and I really do appreciate it, that won't have an impact on like my actual opinion of the mini expansion, which again, I won't even be going on about that in this video much. Okay, now that that's out of the way, let's talk about this video, and it will have two main parts. In the first, I will be showing all of the different things you get in the mini expansion and different editions in game, and then for the second part, I will be taking a deeper dive into what you get to give like a very, very rough estimation and analysis of the value of all the different things in those. But let's get started with talking about the different editions, and the background gameplay will actually switch to me opening the Ultimate Fan Bundle and kind of just going through the stuff so y'all just have extra footage of that. But starting with the base edition, which is essentially $20, that gets you the content of the update. In the next bundle is the Collector's Edition at $60, which contains the content of the update plus a few goodies, and then there's the Ultimate Fan Bundle at $100, which has even more goodies. And the only way to currently purchase War of Three Peaks is through the new version of the LOTRO market. And when you buy the mini expansion, no matter which bundle you get, it will automatically be applied to the in-game account that you log into on that website to purchase it. And of note, this means you cannot get the mini expansion, which is an unfortunate thing because I know that would be helpful to a decent chunk of people to be able to do that. And we also don't have exact details right now of when the mini expansion will be available in the LOTRO store. It could be maybe a couple months, like a few weeks or even up to a few months from now. But eventually it should be available in the LOTRO store for LOTRO points, but it is not at this moment. Alright, so let's start with the base edition, which gives you just the content of War of the Three Peaks, which will be a part of every edition, and it includes the new mission system, which you saw the background gameplay of that earlier in the video. Basically, in this system you can run 8 different missions a day with 80 total missions that are rotated, and the individual missions are basically like instance quests that can be run from level 20 to 130, with the group size of up to 2 players, so duo. And for the rewards, it is mostly cosmetics, though I must say I at least personally like the cosmetics, but that's super subjective. Moving on, you get the new Elder Slade Zone and all the quests in it, and there's also the continuation of the Legacy of Durin and the Trials of Dwarves quest line, and that is going on, and that sort of leads up to Gundabad, which is slated to eventually be the next major expansion, I think. There is some new in-game content with a new raid and new 6-man instance, and that one can also be run in a solo or duo mode, and as far as I know, they will now have the best in-game gear available in them. So that is all of the War of Three Peaks content and what you get in the Standard Edition. Next up, we have the Collector's and Ultimate Fan Editions, and for these, I will actually move in-game to show everything you get in them as we go down the list you see on the screen now. This is from the LOTRO Market website, by the way. So in game now, I'm going to go ahead and open up the Ultimate Fan Bundle first of all, and the first thing we have on the list is a mount, which is the Elder Slade Boar mount. So I'll go ahead and get that and drag that to my bar so I can look at it. So right now I am on the Elder Slade Boar mount, which is the first thing again, and in the description it says it is the most unconventional mount, and that is definitely true. It is weird to be riding a boar. But this is what it looks like, and I'll go ahead and move on to the next thing, which is the cosmetic armor of the Three Peaks. And I'll go ahead and put that in a cosmetic outfit slot for this character so we can see what it looks like. And we'll also look at it dyed a little bit, but there's only a helmet, chest piece, and boots. That's a little bit odd to me, but that's what it is, and this is what it looks like at the base. I'll go ahead and actually equip that so we can see it on this character. and that's what it is. So I will go ahead and look at it. We can just look at how it dies. I won't spend too much time on this, but if I do it like red, if I actually zoom out, I can do every piece on red just so we can get an example. Red's a nice bright color so you can easily see, but that's what it would look like dyed with all the pieces. Next up is the Three Peaks Large Carryall Selection Box. This one's a little bit odd because you only get it on the first character you log into, which also means you only get it on the first server you log into. This selection box itself will be account bound, and the actual carryall you get will also be account bound, but the options are, which I'm switching to a highlight of my old stream in which I actually opened this and went through that. But with that, you have the option to get a crafting task, essence, instrument, housing decoration, one of those large carryalls which have 50 slots for any of those type of items. Next up, we have the weapon aura of the Orc's Bane. So this is the item. It is a weapon aura. As far as I know, the only one before this was actually for ordering one of the editions of the Minas Morgul expansion pack. So I'm still not too familiar with these, but I'll go ahead and show that. And I actually need to get a proper weapon put in the cosmetic slot. It's a little bit weird how this works. Again, I'm not too familiar with it, but this will give your weapon a little bit of a glow when you're around orcs. It's specifically an Orc's Bane weapon aura. So I am pretty close to orcs here. I went specifically here because there are orcs in the area. It's a very, very faint glow. It's up right now. You can mainly see it on the ground, but once I walk out of the range, as a certain range when you're near an orc, it'll trigger. So right now it's not going, but then there's a very faint glow once I walk into the actual range again. It's super faint, so it's hard to see. There's honestly not too much to it. And it's supposed to be a weapon aura, so affect like the glow of the weapon. But again, it's very faint, so very hard to see. But anyway, I'll go ahead and get off that. We're spending so long on this. Normal weapon aura, just so you can switch back if you have something equipped and want to somehow unequip it, like the weapon aura. If I wanted to unequip that, I would just do that, is basically how that works, I think. But moving on, the next thing we have is the Sealed Relics of Three Peaks. So for this item, I wanted to go to a Relic Master so we can actually deconstruct it. And I will point out, this is one of the items you do get on all of your characters. Any character you make and actually open the bundle, you'll get this. So it's not one of those one character on one server type things. But we'll go ahead and deconstruct and actually look at the relics you get from it. So first off, they're all level 130. They're Elder Slade relics. And I assume these are like the new standard relics you can get at endgame. But I'll go ahead, it's probably easier to actually look in the legendary item panel because then you can see them by which type they are. So for the runes, for the settings, we have the settings of the Three Peaks, which gives a bunch of different defensive stats, actually parry, evade, tactical mitigation, resistance, and max morale. And that is the only setting we get. We get one gem, which is Gem of the Three Peaks. This one gives vitality, crit defense, fate, might, agility, and will, so a bunch of different stats with that one. Next up, you get quite a few runes. I think each rune is basically for tactical, and there's also one for physical damage, so base combat damage modifier and then tactical damage modifier. And then you'll have one that has just your mastery, crit, finesse, and a bunch of offensive stats like that. So those are the 6 relics you get from that. Again, 3 runes, 1 gem, and 1 setting. So that is all you get in the Collector's Edition. The next things I will show are only in the Ultimate Fan Bundle, and everything in the Collector's Edition is also included in the Ultimate Fan Bundle, is how that works. But let's go ahead and go to the first thing, which is the Boar of the Three Peaks. So this is the Boar of the Three Peaks. It's a little bit fancier than the regular Elder Slade Boar. If we compare it real quick, there's mainly the armor around it. So you just get a slightly fancier boar mount, one with actual armor. Again, comparing the two real quick, this is what the other one looks like. It has the standard saddle and all that stuff, and then this one just has the armor, it looks like. But this is what it looks like, and it does match the cosmetic set. Unfortunately, if you dye your cosmetic set, it will no longer match. But that is what this one looks like. And moving on, there is the Battle Adorned Pig Pet. So this is the Battle Adorned Pig Pet. Once again, this is something that actually matches the cosmetic armor. But yeah, it's just a little pig in the armor. It'll actually match your new boar mount, the Boar of the Three Peaks. just a lot smaller, and it's a pig, not a boar. But anyway, that's the cosmetic pet. The next thing we have is the treasure Latin donkey pet. This one's a little bit interesting, but this is what it looks like. It's got a bunch of treasure with it, and it's a donkey. And the last thing you get, once again, I'll have to actually go to the old recording or the old stream, but you get 10 1000 Virtue XP scrolls, so ultimately 10,000 Virtue XP that you can split 10 ways, and this is one of the other things you get on one character on the first server you log into, and it will be account bound as far as I remember. So that is what you get. To quickly summarize, it was mostly cosmetics except for the level 130 relics in the collector's edition and the 10 1000 Virtue XP scrolls in the ultimate fan bundle, and then there was a carry-all selection box. And of note, the relics you get on every character you have and make, but both the Virtue XP scrolls and the carry-all are account bound, but are only given to the first character you log into, which also means the first server you log into, which honestly sucks a little bit if you play on multiple servers like me. But I really hope the in-game highlights of this really helped you all actually see. I tried to go around and look at like different angles of all the cosmetics just to show you all what it all looks like. But now I want to shift to talk about the approximate value of some of the things in the different editions by comparing them to things we have in the LOTRO store to get a rough idea of about how much these things are worth if you were to purchase them individually instead of with one of these bundles. Now I must say this comparison is not going to be perfect because it's comparing things to the LOTRO store, which that doesn't always give the best value and has varied pricing for different things. But for this estimate, we can approximate $1 equals about 100 LOTRO points. And certain bundles with base prices do have a lower or higher ratio about this, but $1 to 100 LOTRO points is a rough in the middle estimate for this. But anyway, finally, the first thing is the two mounts, which are account wide, and in the LOTRO store, account wide mounts are about 2,500 LOTRO points each. So in the collector's edition, that would be roughly $25, and then the ultimate fan bundle has two mounts, so $50 total for that one. And again, to point out, some players may not actually value mounts being worth that much because it is an insane amount, but I am just comparing it to what we have in game with the LOTRO store. Next up, we have cosmetic armor, the cosmetic armor set of 3 pieces, which is anywhere from about 500 LOTRO points to 2,000. So that one is in a finer range, kind of, I'm thinking maybe $10 to $15, and because it's only 3 cosmetic pieces, maybe closer to the $10 area. And then moving on, the next thing is the large carry-all, which goes to only one server for you, but it is account bound anyway. The only one you can get in the LOTRO store is the large crafting carry-all, which is 1995 LOTRO points, so about $20. So the one you get in the collectors and ultimate fan puzzles, though, is a bit unique in letting you select between crafting, task, essence, instrument, or a housing decoration carry-all. So because of the uniqueness, it has a lot more value only if you select one that is unavailable to purchase in the LOTRO store, basically a non-crafting version of that. Either way, with this, it adds roughly $20 or a little bit more in value. The next thing we have is the weapon aura of Orc's Bane, and there is nothing in the LOTRO store like this to compare it to, unfortunately. So the value it adds is only what you consider it being worth, whether that is like $0 or $10 or whatever. It is a completely unique item that you have to decide its value on your own for your taste. But the last thing in both bundles is the sealed relic of the 3 Peaks, and again, the LOTRO store, with the LOTRO store and elsewhere in game, there's just not much for us to compare it to. So relics in the LOTRO store are all of like the old tiered ones and not really comparable to this at all. So once again, I would say you have to think about how much these 6 relics are worth, and do remember that you get them on every character you will ever have when you open the bundle. But that concludes all of the stuff in the collector's edition, and by this rough estimation, it had about $60 worth of stuff, plus the base content of the mini expansion, of course, and the unique stuff that we couldn't really get an estimation for. And I do gotta point out again that some players may not value stuff as the LOTRO store does, because a lot of the stuff in there honestly is expensive, but I just want you all to keep that in mind. And by the method I am using here, at least, we got the collector's edition to contain at least $60 worth of stuff. But moving on, we can talk about the Ultimate Fan Bundle, which again includes all of the stuff we already covered, plus the War of the Three Peaks mount, which that would add another $25. And then the next two things are cosmetic pets, and in the LOTRO store, a few of these are 500 to 600 LOTRO points, so roughly I'll put that at $5 for a somewhat round number, which for the two of them we get both the Battle Adorned Pig and the Treasure Laden Donkey. That brings us to $10 from these pets in the Ultimate Fan Bundle. But the last item we have is 10 1000 Virtue XP scrolls, which are given to a single character only, and for that you can essentially say that gives you 10,000 Virtue XP in this bundle. And for comparison, in the LOTRO store there is a bundle of 5 accelerators of 2000 Virtue XP, which in total that gives you 10,000 bonus Virtue XP, and that ultimately ends up being 10,000 actual Virtue XP. So that costs 1000 LOTRO points, or another $10 for our estimate here. And for the grand total, by this method, we have the Ultimate Fan Bundle clocking in at about $105, so $45 more than what we got through the Collector's Edition too. But that still includes all the uniqueness with the relics, the weapon aura, and carryall that was a part of the Collector's Edition as well. So in a bit of a summary, I don't want to pretend that this method of analysis is perfect, but I still wanted to do it to give you all the full information, give some sort of idea of the approximate value of the different goodies and the different editions. As I mentioned, some things in the LOTRO store may seem overpriced or even potentially underpriced to some people, so you really have to take that into consideration and also consider some of the unique items and even the uniqueness of the items in the bundles. So it is true that we have never had boar mounts before, and right now this is the only way to get those, so it's just really an added layer of uniqueness with things like that. But again, I do gotta say that the ultimate goal of this video in this section was to help inform you all, hopefully to make a better and make a good decision in regards to the mini expansion, what you decide to purchase or not purchase with it. Briefly at the end here, I will say the Collector's Edition Ultimate Fan Bundle probably aren't the best things if you do not care at all about cosmetics, and they are going to be a lot more appealing, it seems like, if you like cosmetics and specifically like the ones in the different editions. Otherwise, for, again, a very quick opinion of mine, one thing I was really hoping would be in these editions was a level 120 Valor boost. I think that was a nice thing that came in the previous expansions, and I thought it would have fit perfectly in this because it's new endgame content, so it seems like it'd be natural to have a level boost to get you ready for that. I also personally think it could be a perfect time, or could have been a perfect opportunity, to introduce a new level 130 boost, which got you directly ready for the new zone in the War of Three Peaks and the new raid and instance to go along with it. But that's just something I really felt like was missing from this, and again, I don't want to go too much into my opinion on this. In this video, it's just something I want to point out because that has been in the previous expansions, and I think it's something a lot of players thought would be in this, but ultimately wasn't in this. But anyway, that is all I have for this video. Again, I really hope this helps some players with their decision and if they want to purchase War of the Three Peaks, and if they do, which edition they want to get. And again, it is kind of weird because the expansion is already out and people can already purchase it, and probably a lot of people have already made their decision. That's one unfortunate thing with us not getting any of this info until after, or basically when the update was released. And again, I do want to thank Standing Stone Games though for actually getting me the Ultimate Fan Bundle. I think it was a great thing for you all that I can actually show it, so you all it can help you make that decision. But anyway, as far as this video goes, that is it, and I hope you all did enjoy it and learn something useful from it. And if you did, please consider liking and subscribing for more, or becoming a channel member to support the content. And thanks for watching, everyone.